So welcome to today's class. We are going to be going over the website setup today for the command platform. So this is going to be your new IDX command website. Again, this is going to be everything from your marketing profile to making sure that everything is live, up and running, going over some of those basic edits you guys have access to. So this is going to be all of that. To start, I am logging into the command platform. So this is going to be agent.kw.com. And then my username and my password. If you guys are second guessing that, it's usually your first initial, last name, and then whatever password you had previously set up. I'm just going to click sign in. Once I'm logged into the command platform, I'm just going to accept cookies so you guys can see my full screen. The first thing we're going to do is go over the actual agent profile, your marketing profile that's available to you guys. So I'm going to click on my name in the top right-hand corner, and then I'm going to click on settings. From here, this is essentially all of the integrations that you guys have access to within Command, but we're actually going to click on Connect Settings on the left-hand side, and then you'll see Marketing Profile is nestled right underneath that, and we'll click on Marketing Profile. So just a quick overview in regards to what this marketing profile is actually going to do for you guys as agents. It's essentially the location that all of your marketing is going to pull from on the command platform. So this is a very important piece of the command platform. This is where you guys are going to be able to add all of your information. This is going to feed to your smart plans, your campaigns that you run, your website. It's also going to brand your mobile app. So making sure that the information on here is essentially as accurate as possible, very important. So in order to do this, we're going to start with our headshot. So if you guys have not yet added a headshot, or if you have, you do want to make sure that it's cropped to being a square. In other words, if it's a rectangle, whether it's a horizontal rectangle, vertical rectangle, it tends to squish it to make it a square. So you do want to make sure that your headshot has been cropped as a square before adding that.
Can you tell us again how to get to the marketing profile?
So in order to access the marketing profile, you're going to click on your name in the top right-hand corner, and then you're going to click on settings. And that's going to bring you into the settings portion where you'll see connect settings on the left-hand side and then marketing profile. And if anybody's following along with the live class, if you guys have questions, just drop it in the chat and I will address them all at the end of class as well. Once you guys are on your command marketing profile, again, you want to make sure that your headshot is cropped to being a square. And then as far as your logo goes, you guys do have some editability with that. You can have this cropped as being a square. However, if you do happen to have a horizontal rectangle for a logo, you can add that in. It will look wonky in this box. However, on your website, it will populate correctly. So it's a little bit misleading. Don't panic. If you do have a logo and it looks a little bit different, you're all set. Underneath that, you guys are going to see all of your basic contact information. This is going to be your first name, your last name. This is whatever you guys tend to go by. So if you guys do go by a nickname, feel free to put that in there. As far as your license number and team name, they're not required. However, if you have your license number available, especially if you're licensed in multiple states, you would want to notate that there. Then for your team name, we recommend as far as your team name goes, make sure something is in that box. So whether it's your name, Keller Williams Realty, a catchphrase, whatever you'd like, because what that essentially brands is the drop down list of your website. So once we actually have the website up and running, I'll show you guys where that will pull from. However, this is essentially going to be the title of the drop down list with all of your pages. Scrolling down a little bit more, we have our professional job title. You guys should essentially either have realtor with the registered R, or if your board or brokerage requires you to have something specific, you can always use like licensed real estate agent, whatever the specific verbiage that they require is. You would put that right for your professional job title. Then you have your designations and credentials. Underneath that, we have our bio. You'll notice here that our bio is pasted in with line breaks. So if there are line breaks, for example, spacing that you want to be recognized, make sure that that's pasted in here and it will actually carry over to the website portion. Underneath that, we have the mobile phone number as well as the office number. Both are essentially required. However, if your office or brokerage does not require your office number on your marketing, you can replicate your mobile number. As you can see, that's how we have it set up. Our office number and our mobile number is actually the same. Underneath that, we have email address. For your email address, this is essentially whatever email you are using for marketing. If you have a custom email, a personal email that you would rather use over, say, your Keller Williams email, that is completely fine. It's whatever email address you're using for marketing. Then we have website. If you don't yet know what your website URL is, for example, this is the class where you guys are going to be primarily setting this up. If you're not sure what that URL is yet, you can essentially come back and paste that in. However, chances are there is a URL in here already. This would be whatever URL you were previously using. You do want to make sure that this has either HTTP or HTTPS in the beginning of the URL. What that's going to do is make sure that it's clickable from your office's website. So if someone comes across your agent profile on the office site, they'll be able to just click it and go to your website rather than having to copy and paste it themselves. This also goes for your mobile app. So in other words, when people come across your mobile app, they have your branded mobile app on their phone, they can actually go to your website just by clicking on it rather than having to go through the whole copy and paste into a browser. And if you guys ever second guess whether your website is HTTP or HTTPS, all of the KW websites, all of the ones that end in .kw.com will be HTTPS and then semicolon //. If you guys have a custom domain, the easiest way to find out is literally copy and paste your URL into another tab and then copy and paste it back in, and it will actually it will provide you with whichever one it is, whether it's the secure or the HTTP. Underneath that, we have our brokerage information. So this is going to be pretty standard. Left-hand side, you have your brokerage logo. A lot of offices do have their own office logos. If your office does not have one and they essentially use just the regular Keller Williams logo, completely fine. You guys can paste or essentially upload that in. If you guys are unsure, by all means, you can always reach out to us via email. We can check and see if we have a logo on file for you guys, or essentially touch base with your office. On the right-hand side, you guys are going to see all of your brokerage information. This is going to be your primary brokerage information. So if you are by chance dual licensed or you're working with multiple market centers, multiple states, that is completely fine. You can essentially put both offices in here and we can help you with that. But for the sake of, for all intents and purposes, most agents are only with one Keller Williams office in one state. You would want to make sure that your full brokerage name, the DBA name, is first. Then you have their office number. Again, if you want to put your cell phone number there, you can. And then as far as the address goes, you have your physical street address first and then city, state, zip, ending with your brokerage license number. If you guys don't have that, it's not required, but if you happen to have it on file, by all means, you can copy and paste that in. Underneath that, we have our compliance information. So this is really good to know because this previously was not here. It was actually done through the setup of the website. So this is something that they've updated in the last couple of months. So now we have a legal footer text section. A lot of brokerages or a lot of Keller Williams brokerages and offices require that you have each Keller Williams office is independently owned and operated as the legal footer text. So you want to make sure that's typed in there. Or if your office has something specific they like there, you can always touch base with your broker in charge and they can let you know. Underneath that, we have our legal footer links. So this is if your board, your brokerage require a certain file to actually be added to your website. So for example, we have the information about brokerage services and consumer protection notice added to our website, just as an example. This would be for all Texas agents. So if your board or brokerage require a certain PDF or a certain file, a certain document to be on your marketing or linked to your marketing, this is where you can essentially do that. Again, as always, if you guys get stuck and are unsure how to physically add this document, convert it to a URL, let us know, shoot us an email. We can always help with getting that added as well. Underneath that, we have our legal footer images. There are some boards, MLS boards, that do require you have their logo added to your website. If that is the case, you can always just upload that. You would want to make sure it's saved on your computer. Click on upload, and it will actually allow you to add that logo or that picture, whatever it may be. That being said, keep in mind this image is very, very small. So, depending on what the credentials are, I would just confirm that it is essentially compliant, but it is a very small image, and it's located right at the bottom of your website. Underneath that, we have our social media platforms. You'll notice here that all of these also have the HTTPS. This is going to make them clickable, again, from the mobile app, from marketing, from our website. So you do want to make sure that they are all hyperlinked. Continuing on that, you do also want to make sure that these are all of your business profiles. These pages are going to be marketed from your website. So, in other words, it's actually going to allow your clients to click right on one of these. So, for example, there's going to be a link for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So, you do want to make sure that these are real estate related profiles. So, in other words, confirm your Facebook is real estate driven, your Twitter, your Instagram. You would kind of want to avoid adding your personal pages unless you are using your personal page for business purposes. For YouTube and LinkedIn, those are primarily business related anyways. So your LinkedIn profile is by default a business profile. So you wouldn't have to worry about that one. But the rest, you would want to make sure that they're real estate related. That way they fit with your website. Underneath that, we have Facebook Pixel and ads, and then the Google Analytics ID. If you guys have any interest in setting this up, it essentially allows you to track your traffic. Facebook Pixel would be with ads, and Google Analytics is more with your website. If that's something you guys are interested in setting up, we can actually provide the information for you. If you guys are following along with class, drop the information in the chat box. Just say you guys are looking for that information with your email. I can shoot that over to you. I'll also hyperlink this below the recording. So if you guys are following along with the class recording, I'll make sure it's added to the notes underneath this video. Last but not least, we have our branded KW app link. This is essentially your URL for your mobile app. If you're not seeing a URL that has app.kw.com in it, chances are it is essentially the placeholder URL. So you would want to make sure that this is updated with the correct URL. And I'll show you guys where to find that later on in class. So you guys can always come back in here and make tweaks and edits later on. Once you guys are done that, all the way down at the bottom, right underneath your mobile app, you guys should see save. If you guys made any tweaks at all, you want to make sure you're clicking that save button. And then I'll just give it a second. They've been running some updates on the command portal, so it's been going a little bit slow today. I apologize. Let me try pulling. There we go. We didn't make any edits, so we're golden. If you guys are still waiting for it to load, don't panic. Give it a second. I'm just going to go over one last thing. So once you guys have clicked save, it will essentially pop up with a box saying everything has been saved. This is going to go out to all of your marketing. Just kind of a heads up. If you guys, once you are saved, are noticing in the top right-hand corner that this toggle switch is populating as gray and you don't have it populating as green, you'll notice I have that green bubble. If you don't see it as green, click it. What it's going to do is essentially allow all of those command platforms to use your marketing profile to brand everything. So you want to make sure that this is always populating as green in order for it to actually have access to all of those updates and changes and all of your contact information that we just added. And if you do populate this or essentially click it, toggle it over to be green, you will get a compliance pop-up letting you know that everything that you've entered in here does have to be within your compliance guidelines for your brokerage and your office. So once you guys have done that, everything is saved. We are going to jump into the actual website. In doing this, we're going to be clicking on the consumer icon on the left-hand side. It's the second to last icon. If you guys are not seeing that icon, don't panic. Try zooming out a little bit. Sometimes when you're on a smaller screen, it does tend to zoom in and it chops off the last couple of icons. So just make sure that you're clicking on consumer. And if you guys ever second guess it, you can click on that red KW and it will actually say it as well, if that's easier for you. Give it a second to load. So once you guys click on consumer, it by default dumps you onto the landing pages tab. We're primarily going to be working with the agent site pages. So I'm just going to click on that to start. Once I have my agent site pages up, you'll see here, I already have a couple of pages added. Our website is already live. If you guys are seeing this, this will essentially be more so making any edits or changes that you guys want to your website. If you guys are not seeing any pages set up here, don't panic. It just means that your website isn't set up. And this class will actually go over how to do that. So you guys are all set. To start, the first thing I want to show you guys is just where to find that mobile URL that I had said earlier. So I just want to show you guys where that's located before we go further. If you guys are on, again, we're on agent site pages. Top right-hand corner, you guys are going to see site and app settings, and I'm just going to click on that. Once this page loads, you're going to see a tab for URLs, and we're going to click on that. Right here, we have this is your command website URL. Right underneath this, you guys should be seeing your mobile app URL. We do not have a mobile app URL because we are not a licensed real estate agent. This account essentially isn't designed for a licensed real estate agent. However, anybody who is licensed, you guys should see your URL populating right underneath this. It should have your mobile app URL. It should have the entire URL right here and then a copy section. So you guys can essentially copy that URL and paste it back into your marketing profile that we were just in. That's going to essentially add a link for your mobile app on your smart plans, campaigns. It's just going to put it pretty much everywhere. So make sure that you guys do update that if it wasn't already on your marketing profile. Once I've done that, I'm just going to jump back into agent site pages. And now that I'm on this page, I'm just going to click on configure your site. You guys will notice it's in two locations. You have one on the bottom left-hand corner, and you may also have one on the top right-hand corner. They both do the exact same thing. So we're just going to click on configure your site. Once you guys have this box populating, we're just going to click on I want to use the new KW agent sites, which is the first option, and then we'll click submit. Once this page pops up, this is just letting us know what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to be able to choose or edit our subdomain. We're going to go over some of the themes and styling available on the Command website so far. And we're also going to be creating those 3 standard pages. That's going to be the About Me page, the Contact Us page, and the About Us page. And then we're just going to click on Get Started. This is the same compliance reminder that you would have seen when you toggled your marketing profile to being active. It's essentially just letting you know all of the information that we're putting on our website does need to be within compliance. We're just going to click on Acknowledge and Continue. Once this page loads, and it does usually take a second if you guys haven't gone through this yet, so don't panic. But once this page loads, this is essentially going to be step one, is choosing your subdomain. If you guys have already chosen your subdomain, that's completely fine. If you guys want to change it, here's where you guys can do it. Your subdomain is essentially the text that's going to populate before .kw.com. If you guys are using the command websites, all of those URLs are going to end in .kw.com. So if you guys already have something populating here and you're unsure if you saved it or if you want to tweak it, you would just click on confirm domain and you'll get that little ribbon. Congrats, you have claimed your subdomain. One thing that I do want to note with these command URLs or your command website URLs, they will not work with www. So if you guys are getting business cards or you guys are putting this on your email signature, you're sharing your website, what is in this box is your website. So rather than sharing www.scottleroymarketing.kw.com, it would actually just be scottleroymarketing.kw.com. If you use www, it actually pulls up an error message. And that was the same thing with the previous website platform. It's just something that has to do with the KW websites. So just as a heads up, once you guys have claimed that, we're just going to click on marketing profile information. And the beauty about this is if you guys filled out your marketing profile that we just went over, this is all going to auto-populate for you. So we're just going to scroll down, make sure that all spelling is correct, all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, you guys are good to go. So the first thing you guys are going to see is your first name and your last name. We have our brokerage name right underneath that, which we have Scott Leroy Marketing. You guys should have whatever your DBA for your brokerage is. We have our brokerage address, and then our team or business name. And I'll show you guys exactly where that shows up right now. So I'm just going to pull up our website so you guys can see. So that team name, that's what's going to populate right here. And you'll notice it's literally the title of our drop-down list for all of our pages. So when you're providing a team name, team or business name, you can either put your name, you guys can put Keller Williams Realty, your name dash Keller Williams Realty, whatever you guys want. But if you're not associated with a team, you do want to make sure something is there, because otherwise what it ends up titling that drop down list, it actually just puts your agent. Underneath that, we have your professional job title, email address, office number and mobile number. Our bio, you'll notice that the page breaks are still there, or line breaks are still there. Underneath that, we have agent license number. Again, we're not licensed real estate agents, but if you guys want to add that in, make sure that's populating there. We have our compliance legal footer. Then we have our brokerage license number. Again, if you guys have that on file, feel free to add that in. Then we have our brokerage office number. And then our compliance legal footer links. So again, if you guys added those in, it will actually pull all over from the marketing profile. This auto updates for you, which is great. Legal footer images, those should also feed over from your marketing profile. So if you guys had added that in, that will populate there. Scrolling down a little bit more, you guys will see our headshot, perfect square. We have our Keller Williams logo, which previously looked a little bit wonky in the actual marketing profile. It does show up correctly here, and you'll notice also on our website, it is populating correctly. And then we have our logo, which happens to be a square also underneath that. Scrolling down to last but not least, we have our social media URLs all populating with HTTP or HTTPS. If you guys do not have that HTTPS, it actually won't let you go further. So you do want to make sure that is added right now, because when we go to click save and continue, it's going to block you from going to the next page if those are not hyperlinked. Underneath all of your social media links, you guys will see your app code. You'll notice ours is the generic one. Again, we're not licensed, so it's going to pull up the generic one for us. But you guys should see app.kw.com and then / whatever your code is. The beauty of this is you can't actually edit it. So it's by default pulling your app code. So there is no way that it pulls the wrong one, which is great. Once you guys have gone through all of that, we're going to go ahead and click Save and Continue. And if you guys made any edits, it sometimes takes a second, so I'll give it a second to catch up. But you'll notice right on the top right-hand side, we're going to see the themes that are available. As of right now, there's only 2 themes. One is essentially the red theme and one is the dark theme. So the difference is essentially the font, the buttons, the logo. If you're not adding a KW Office logo and you happen to leave that completely blank, it will actually change how the logo appears. So in other words, if you guys have the red, it's going to leave the generic KW logo for you. If you guys change it to the dark theme, the logo will actually show up as the grayscaled Keller Williams. We manually added the grayscale Keller Williams in just to kind of show you guys an example, but that's essentially what these 2 themes will do as of right now. Underneath that, we have our homepage text. Homepage text is literally going to be the title of your website right on that main page. So right above your search options, it should currently be for all your real estate needs. That tends to be the default. However, you guys can customize that accordingly. If you guys have a catchphrase or a team name, or you want to put covering Boston, Massachusetts, or whatever area you're covering, you can also add that in here. You'll notice if you guys are making updates, as you guys type, it's going to preview it right on the left-hand side for you. Underneath that, we have our hero images. So Command just calls the background images hero images. They're the exact same thing. It's essentially just letting you know these are the pictures that are going to create the slideshow that is the background of your website. So you'll notice here there are 5 images already added. If you guys have images that you would rather use, maybe more specific to your location, or you have previous sales that exterior photos, interior photos that you may want to use, by all means, you can add those in. You are only allowed up to 5 images, so you would need to delete these off of your website. If for some reason you delete these and you're unable to get them back, let us know. We do have these saved, so we can always add those in for you. But you guys can definitely come through here. You would just click on the little trash can, and it will essentially allow you to delete these 5 and then add in your own images. One thing I do want to notate is the size criteria they provide to you is 1200 by 1200. That is not what we have noticed has been the best size for this platform. You'll notice 1200 by 1200 would give you a perfect square. The preview is a very narrow horizontal rectangle. So you do want to make sure that your images are more along the lines of 1200 by 800, 600, anywhere around those lines, which are going to give you more of that narrow rectangle. If you have a perfect square and the resolution is high, 1200 by 1200 or somewhere around that, you can certainly still add it. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to actually crop it when you're adding it. So in other words, if you have a beautiful landscape picture that's maybe specific to your location, you can still add that in. And what it will do is just have you crop to whichever section you want to be really branded on your website. So don't panic. If you're unable to find something specific, absolutely perfect for this, it's completely fine. It will allow you to crop it when you're importing that in. Let's scroll down to the bottom. You guys should see save and continue right on the bottom right-hand side, and we're going to click on that. Now we're actually adding pages to our website. So to start, you guys are going to see on the top right-hand corner, navigation, and we're just going to click on that to expand it. All this is letting you know is what order these pages are going to show up on your website. And you guys can customize this if you'd like. You guys would essentially just drag and drop however you guys want them to appear. This is actually going to be an option on every single page. It's essentially, again, just letting you reorder them. And this is not the only location that you guys can do this. So if you change your mind down the line, I am going to show you a quick way to do it outside of the configure your site section. Underneath navigation, we have site or search engine optimization, the SEO section. This is going to be where you guys can actually label the page title. So the page title is going to be the actual title that shows up on the drop-down list. So I'm going to pull up our site just to give you guys an example. For example, company profile. That's what it has it labeled as. That's where it's going to populate. So if you guys wanted to change that to like about Keller Williams or about your location, whatever you guys want, this is essentially customizable. But that's going to be the title of the page on your drop-down list. Underneath that, we have the slug. The slug is just the tail end of your URL. So your website is going to be set up. I'm actually going to zoom in because this seems very small. You guys are going to see your website URL is, for example, ours, HTTPS. Then we have our scottliverymarketing.kw.com. If I was trying to share this specific page with clients and I wanted to either email it out, text it out, I could actually share scottliverymarketing.kw.com/about-us, and it would bring them to this specific page. So if you guys want to adjust that, by all means. Slugs do not allow special characters or spaces notated right above. So dashes are usually recognized as a space. So just keep that in mind. Underneath that, we have our SEO description. The best way to describe what this description is going to be used for, if you guys have ever used a search engine, you guys go to Google and you try to pull something up. You have the URL, the title of the URL, and then underneath that, you have that brief synopsis, kind of just giving you a heads up in regards to what that website's going to give you, what you're about to click on. It's essentially just a preview, sentence or paragraph. You guys can add that in here, and it would essentially be whatever you would use to describe what is on this page. The beauty of the company profile is it is completely customizable. This is actually like a freebie page for you guys. So if you want to gear this towards the office, maybe some office information, why go with a Keller Williams agent? You can do that. If you want to maybe do some points or some real estate features for your local area, whether they're like monuments or national location treasures, whatever you guys want. So you guys can actually come in here and customize that, which we'll be doing next is going over content. But your SEO description, again, would just be a brief description about what this page is going to provide. Underneath that, we have our content. So our content's going to start with our page header. Ours is currently set up as company profile, as you'll notice is populating right here. And everything that you do on this side, you're going to notice it will populate right on the left-hand side. So your left-hand side is essentially your preview. Right-hand side is where you're making all of your edits. So to start, we have our company profile. You guys can adjust the picture that's behind it. For example, if you guys have something more specific to your location, again, landscape or something that's just specific to the area that you cover real estate in, you guys can definitely update that. The recommended size is 2,000 by 500. This one, however, does not or has not let you crop it. So you do want to make sure that it's ballpark that size. It will essentially adjust it if it's a hair off, but if you have like a perfect square, it does actually mush it. So it's going to end up looking a little bit distorted. Underneath that, we have our intro paragraph. Right now, that's just set up, enter a quick description of your business. Again, you guys can put anything there if you guys want to gear this towards a certain type of real estate. If you guys maybe are handling more rentals, you guys can put some information about rentals. If you guys are, a buyer's agent, you guys can put why work with you as a buyer's agent, whatever you guys want. This is 100% customizable. Underneath that, we have our section 1 headline. You guys will see that's populating in bold, and then we have our description underneath it. And then you guys have access to add an image. For these images, you do want to make sure that they're cropped to being a perfect square, just like your headshot, or it will force it to fit a square and tends to distort it otherwise. So you do want to make sure that it is cropped to being a perfect square. Underneath that, exact same thing. We just have our headline 2, our paragraph 2, which is just going to populate right underneath. And then we have our image 2, which you guys, again, can upload and essentially replace this one. Make sure it's a perfect square, again, or else it's going to essentially just force it into a square, and it does make it look a little bit wonky. Underneath that, we have our footer title and footer paragraph. Footer title, we usually see something along the lines of contact us today, and then footer paragraph, name, contact information. But you guys can put anything. We've also seen agents get creative and put maybe coverage areas and then list all of their states or zip code or cities, zip codes, neighborhoods, whatever they'd like. So you guys can essentially, again, use this accordingly. Once you guys have added information in, and again, you guys can come back and edit this later, so don't panic. You guys can actually come right through the configure your site section and add information in later on today if you don't have content put together yet. So after that, we're just going to click on continue, bottom right hand corner. And this is going to bring us to the About Me page. This is kind of just like your agent bio, your headshot, and all of that. Again, starting with navigation, you guys can essentially drag and drop if you want to change the order of your drop-down list. Underneath that, we have our search engine optimization. Again, your page title is going to be the actual name of your page on the drop-down list. So if you guys are a team or you guys are working with somebody else, whatever it may be, spouse, team, brother, sister, sister, whatever you guys are working with, you guys can always put about us as well. The only thing that you want to keep in mind is your company profile. Your slug is currently about us. You cannot use the same slug twice, so you would need to change one of them. And then again, you guys can adjust the slug. That's the tail end of your website. And then we have our SEO description. Ours is currently set up as about Scott Leroy Marketing. And if you guys ever question this, if you hover over the eyes, it's going to break down a little bit more as well. So the SEO description, if you guys hover over that, it will give you Keller Williams International's version of the SEO description and what needs to be put there, just in case. And then we're just going to click on the content section. Content section, we have our page title. So we have About Me. And again, you guys can change this and it will update in real time. So like About Us, our title, digital marketer at Scott Leroy Marketing. You guys can put realtor at Keller Williams Realty, Keller Williams, whatever your brokerage DBA name is. Or if you guys are a part of a team, you guys can put realtor with team name. You have your bio title. Ours is set up as just About Scott. Again, if you guys are on a team name, you guys can tweak that, put both your names or the team name, whatever it may be. Underneath that, we have our bio. So this is deceiving. So on our actual bio section on the right-hand side, you guys are going to see all of these line breaks are still populating. However, on our preview, it's not. The preview is actually wrong. This is a known issue, so don't panic. As long as your line breaks are showing up in the box on the right-hand side under bio, you will be golden. They will feed over to the live site, and I'll show you guys that once we complete the site as well. But as long as your line breaks are populating here, you guys are all set, and it will essentially filter over to your website for you. You can disregard the actual preview of the bio section. Underneath that, we have our contact title. You'll see it just says Contact Scott. Again, you guys can tweak that if you guys want to put your team name or your name or contact us, whatever you guys want. And then we have our contact phone. Make sure that is your mobile number and not your office number. You do want to make sure that this is your contact information. And then your email address. All this should be pulling from the marketing profile, so you guys should be golden. You'll notice right at the bottom, it is populating here for us. And then if you guys made any tweaks, give you guys a second to finish up. And then we're going to be clicking on continue, bottom right. And now we're going to be setting up our last page. Again, we have navigation. You guys can drag and drop this. We tend to leave the contact us last, but you guys can drag and drop and change the order. Underneath that, we have our search engine optimization again. We have the title of our page. So this is again going to be what populates on our drop-down list. You guys can tweak that accordingly. If you are an individual agent, a lot of agents don't want contact us. They want contact me or contact your first name. For example, we can change this to contact Scott, or for this purpose, I'll put contact SLM, Scott Leroy Marketing. Then we have our slug. The default slug is just contact. You guys can customize that and actually add in the additional. If you guys change your name, you guys can tweak that as well. And then your SEO description, contact us today, interested in buying or selling real estate, contact me today, whatever you guys want. Underneath that, we have our content section. We're going to click on content. And then once we have this open, you guys can do the exact same thing. My recommendation is if you guys change this from contact us, I would match your header to whatever you guys just changed your page title to. So I just changed it to contact SLM. I'm going to continue that through just so it kind of everything matches. We have our intro paragraph. This is optional, so you can remove that if you'd like, if there isn't something specific you're looking to put there. But you guys can put something like, let me put interested in buying or selling. So you guys can put whatever you'd like there, and it's just going to show up right underneath your title. Then we have our message hint. This is essentially the gray message that's going to populate in the message section. It's essentially just giving your contact an idea in regards to what you're looking for from them if they were to leave you a message and contact you through the website. So you guys can put something along the lines of, are you looking to buy or sell? You guys can leave this as is. Please provide your address. Whatever you guys want, you would put that in here, and it's going to show up essentially as a suggestion for what you're looking for on your website. Then we have our phone number and email below. This should be the same as it was before. And then we're just going to click on save and continue. And this is actually going to launch our website. So I'm going to click on save and continue. And this usually takes a second, so don't panic. If you guys are setting up your website for the first time, or if you guys made a lot of updates, it does take a second to register. Once you guys get to this page, we're just going to click on manage sites so we can make sure everything is up and running. We're good to go. We're going to preview our websites and just make sure everything is all set. So again, once you guys get to this page, we're going to click on manage sites. And if you guys don't see it, try scrolling down a little bit. Again, this all depends on the size of your screen. Oh, and it did not take me to manage sites. So if it brought you to the home screen like it did me, we're going to click back on consumer. So again, I'm clicking back on consumer and then agent site pages. They've been running some updates, so I apologize. Some of these they're still making some tweaks. So now you'll see all of the pages that I essentially edited. So I added or adjusted how our contact us was set up. I added some information on the about us. So it actually created duplicate pages for me. If you guys had the same thing populate, if you guys already had your website set up and you just made changes, you can remove the old pages. I'm going to do that just by clicking on my 3 dots and deleting it, just so I only have one contact us page. And then I'm also going to delete my old About Us page. You don't have to, however, it is going to essentially give you duplicate pages on your website. So now I essentially have one About Us, one Contact Us, one About Me, and then we previously had a custom page already added. And if you guys want to check out your website, you guys should see a clickable link now right here. If you guys are not yet seeing that, or if it's not clickable, or if your eyeballs are still populating as being gray, don't panic. It just means that your website is still launching. If you just set up your website for the first time, it was not previously set up at all, it does usually take up to 30, sometimes 45 minutes for it to go completely live. So don't panic. You guys can check back in a little bit and it should be ready to go. If you guys are either following the live class or following the recording, you guys went through all of these steps, you guys have the gray eyeballs, and it takes more than an hour for your website to launch and you're not seeing it as being live, shoot us an email and we can take a look. Sometimes there are some, essentially, there are some tricks around it to force it to launch. But if you guys do have any issues with your website not showing as live, again, these should all be clickable within an hour. They should be showing up as teal and not gray. And that means that your website is good to go. If you guys want to quickly preview your website, you guys can actually click on this. I'm going to open in a new tab, even though I already had it open. And this will actually pull up your website for you. Let's make sure. There we go. And you guys will have your logo, your office logo. If you guys added a team logo, that'll be right there. You have your team name. All of your information is showing up now. You have your contact information, office information. If you guys did add any legal footer, that will all be populating below as well. You'll see information about brokerage services is here. Each Keller Williams office is independently owned and operated is populating. And this section will actually stay on every single page of your website, no matter what. This is your footer. So this will not change. You'll also see that we have all of our clickable links to our social media at the bottom. Scroll back up to the top. They're also on our drop-down list. And then we have all of our pages as well. You'll notice I only have one copy of each, which is how it essentially should be. So the last thing I want to show you guys, I'm going to jump back to Command really quick. I just want to go over some of the widgets that you guys have access to. And I apologize, we might go a couple minutes over, but I just wanted to show you guys the widgets that you guys have access to that are provided to you by Keller Williams. So in other words, these are almost like pre-templated pages that you guys can add to your website in order to just give it a little bit more customization. So to do that, I'm remaining on my agent site pages. And if you guys did X out of this or essentially refresh it, consumer, we're going to click on that, and then agent site pages. And that will get us right back to this location. And then I'm just going to click on create a new site on the top right-hand corner. I'm going to get this pop up. So we're going to be using on my agent site. What this means is it's essentially going to build us additional pages that are going to be ready to be added to our website. So it's almost like creating that template, and then we're going to go ahead and make it live. Standalone pages cannot be automatically added to your website. Those are landing pages. They're standalone landing pages. They really have no relation to your actual command website, just so you guys understand the difference. But we're going to click on my agent site, and then we'll click on create page. And give it a second to load. And then what I'm going to be adding right now is I'm actually going to add the mobile link or the download my mobile app widget. So the first thing, whenever you guys are coming in here, my first recommendation is to make sure that you're titling your page. So whatever you're planning on doing with this page, just title it as such, because when you go to make this page live, it's going to be that much easier to tell them apart. So I'm just going to label this one mobile app. Once I have my title, you guys should all see the widgets on the right-hand side. So you guys have a team widget. If you guys are on a team, this will actually allow you guys to essentially add all of your team members to one page with their headshot, their contact information. It's a great widget. If you're not a part of a team, it's not something that you would actually use because it wouldn't work properly. You have the agent profile. This is phenomenal. So this is actually the exact same page that we just set up under the configure your site section when we set up the about me. It's the exact same widget. It actually allows you to use the same formatting, headshot, bio, contact information. So if you guys are a spouse team or you guys are working with, like, again, a friend, a family member, you can actually have 2 about me pages, title them as, about John, about Sue, and you can have your own bio, your own headshot, your own contact information pull to that page, which is great. It essentially allows you to replicate it but customize it. Then you have the contact form, which essentially is just the contact a lead capture widget. This is just like the contact us page that we just used. We have a testimonial carousel and a testimonial list. We do have essentially a tip video that goes over how to get your testimonials added to your website, and I'll show you guys how to add the capture form as well today. But as far as the difference between these two, just so you know, the testimonial carousel is going to allow you to add up to, I believe it's still only 3, it might be 4 now, testimonials. The testimonial list allows you to add up to 10. So if you do have multiple testimonials, it is more beneficial to have the list added to your website. Then we have the company profile. Exact same thing as the About Us / company profile page that we just set up. It allows you to essentially reuse that widget. So maybe if you want to do one of the company profiles for your Keller Williams office and you wanted to use another one to promote the area that you cover real estate in, you can. It actually allows you to duplicate it. Then we have our testimonial capture form, which I'm going to show you guys how to set up after this. And then download my app. The download my app widget is great because it does about 90% of the work for you. All we're going to do is click on the app or click on the widget, and you'll notice I have it, and I'm not letting go of the mouse. I'm just clicking on it, holding down the mouse, and I'm going to drag it over to my blank slate, and I'm going to drop it. And now I'm seeing my download my mobile app widget, and it's populating. What we're going to do is tweak this a little bit and make it a little bit more about us. So we're going to click on configure widgets on the bottom right-hand side. And if you guys aren't seeing that, again, scroll down a little. Sometimes if you guys are using a smaller monitor, it cuts that off on you. Once I click on configure widgets, it's going to allow me to actually select the widget that I'm working on. We only have one on the page, so we're just going to click on the download my app. And then you'll see, just like before when we were going through the actual setup of our website, all of our edits are going to be done in here. Nothing is going to be done by us clicking outside of this section. So to start, we have our headline, download the KW app, and that's essentially populating right here for you guys. You guys can put download my KW mobile app, download my team name, whatever. If you guys are like the home team, download the home team's KW app, whatever you guys want, you guys can customize this. So I'm going to put download Scott Leroy's, perfect. And I'm right under 30. So you guys have 30 characters to play with. If you guys are over that, it will actually cut it off. It won't let me type anymore. So once you guys have adjusted your headline, we have our subtext right underneath. I'm going to leave that as is, but if you guys want to tweak that, you guys have up to 280 characters to play with. This is essentially, again, just a brief overview of what the mobile app is going to actually do for your clients. Then I have my button text. This is literally just the name of the button. So we have download app. So I'm going to put download my KW app. Underneath that, we have our redirect URL, meaning when people click on that button, it's going to bring them here. The beauty of this is not customizable. So you can never put the wrong URL there. By default, it's going to be your mobile app URL. So you guys are golden. You don't even have to touch that part. Once you guys have made all of your tweaks, we're just going to click on save and apply. And you'll notice that your changes are applied instantly and you guys can see how it looks. So if you guys maybe make an edit or you guys add something in and you say, you know what, I don't like how that looks, you guys can come back here and edit this. So for example, if I don't like KW in there anymore, I can remove that, click on save and apply again, and it will update it for me. Once I've done that, I'm just going to click on my Save Changes in order to make this an actual page. We're going to get this pop-up. Would you like to publish this page? We're going to click on Yes. And now you'll notice it is an option as one of our pages, but you'll notice the I is gray. It's not yet made live. So we're going to actually have to make this page a live page on our website. But what I want to do first is show you guys how to add the testimonial capture page to your website as well. And then we'll make them both live at the same time. That way we're not jumping around as much. So I'm going to click on my create a new site again. And then exact same thing. We'll click on my agent site and then create page. Top left-hand corner, we want to title this. I'm going to put Testimonial Capture. You guys can put leave a review, capture review, whatever you guys want, as long as you're going to know what this page is doing. That way, when you go to make it live, you'll be able to title it accordingly. Once we have our title, we'll jump back over to our widget section right on the right-hand side, and we'll see right here, Testimonial Capture form. We're going to do the exact same thing we did before. We're going to click, drag, and drop. And then we get our little green ribbon. Our template was created. You guys should have a gray overlay, so don't panic. We do have to configure this. So we're just going to click on our configure widgets at the bottom of the page again. We'll click on our testimonial capture. And then we're just going to customize this accordingly. So we have our team name. If you guys are not a part of a team, you would just put your first name and last name. All it's going to do is actually brand this page. So what it would say is it's essentially going to add your name in wherever it's needed. So would you recommend Royal Realtors? It's actually going to say, would you recommend John Smith? So you would want to put your name or your team name here. So I'm going to put Scott Leroy Marketing. Then we have our headline text. I'm going to put leave a review. You guys can put whatever you would like. Leave a testimonial. How was your experience? Tell us what you think. Whatever you guys want. This is just going to be your title or your headline text right at the top of the page. For the description, I'm going to leave that as is. So I'm going to leave the thank you for being a valued client, that whole synopsis. You guys can customize that. You guys have up to 200 characters. But I like how that looks. And then we have our review headline. That's actually what's populating right above the stars. So how would you rate your experience? I'm going to leave that as is as well. You guys can tweak that accordingly. Tell us what you think, whatever it may be. Then we have our review placeholder text. That's going to be, again, just the suggestion in the actual review box. So this is just giving them an idea. How was your experience with your agent? How did they help? Did they make the buying or selling process clear? You guys can customize that. I'm going to leave that as is as well, only because, again, I like how that looks and they kind of cover all their bases. Once you guys have that, we're going to click on our save and apply again. And you'll see that gray overlay is taken away. Your edits, all of your customizations that you've done are essentially added here. Leave a review. We have our synopsis. How would you rate your experience with Scott Leroy Marketing? Would you recommend Scott Leroy Marketing? And then they have access to add their review, select stars. We're good to go. If for some reason, again, you guys added something and you want to tweak it on the right-hand side, click on save and apply again, and that change will feed over. Now that we've done that, we're just going to click on Save Changes again. And we'll make this page live by clicking on Yes. Now we'll see both of these pages are populating. We have our mobile app and our testimonial capture. Again, another good reason as to why we're labeling them. That way down the line, we know exactly what's what. And we're seeing both of these as gray eyeballs. So we want to make sure we're making these live because as of right now, they're just kind of set up as templates, but they're not actually live pages on our website. So in order to do this, we're going to click on Site and App Settings. And then we're going to jump into Site Pages. This is the last tab. Once we're in here, I had mentioned this earlier, the navigation section of your configure your website section that we went over where you guys can kind of adjust what order pages are in, you guys can actually do that here as well. You'll notice that you actually have the drag and drop ability, so you guys can customize how they populate. If you guys are tweaking how they populate, make sure that you click Save Page Changes so it will actually apply. But this is just another location you guys can do that. It's a little bit easier than going through the entire configure your site section. What we're going to be doing though is adding those two pages. So I'm just going to click on my add page. And again, really good reason as to why we're labeling them. I'm going to click on my mobile app and then I'm just going to click on continue. And then for page title, I'm just going to put download my mobile app. And you guys can put whatever you'd like. This is going to be the actual title of the page on your drop-down list. So we're essentially filling out that SEO, search engine optimization section that we did previously on the website. We're essentially doing that on a smaller scale for our custom pages. Then we have our slug. I'm just going to put mobile-app. You guys can put something longer if you want, but I figure short and sweet for slug is usually easier. SEO description is required, so I'm just going to put search for homes on the go with my mobile app. And again, you guys can tweak that however you'd like. That's just usually the standard. Once I've done that, I'm going to click Save Page Changes before I add the next page, or else it will actually erase this on me. So anytime you make an edit to a page, you need to be clicking Save Page Changes. And then it kind of locks that page in for you. You get your green ribbon saying it's been saved successfully, and we can go on to adding our next page. So once you guys have done that, we're going to click on Add Page again. And this time we're going to select the bubble with Testimonial Capture and then click on Continue. And I'm going to put my page title, leave a review to match the title of my page that I actually set up. For my URL slug, I'm going to do the same thing using dashes as my spaces. And then for SEO, you guys can put anything along the lines of tell us about your experience, tell us what you think, leave a review, whatever you guys want. And then once I have that added, I'll click on my Save Page Changes again. And then we always like to have the contact us last, just so your clients are essentially getting all of the information, or essentially all of the information that they would want to look at first, and then they have their contact last, so they can reach out to you once they've had a chance to actually look at all of the pages on your website. And then I'm just going to click on Save Page Changes because I reorganized. And then once I've done that, I'm just going to show you guys our live website so you can see how it populates. I do need to refresh it, which may take a second. And then anytime you guys add a custom page on your website, whether it's a completely custom page or a widget, it does take a second to load the first time you guys go to it. Don't panic. So if you guys go to your drop-down list and you click on leave a review, it does take a second to load, and it only happens the first time you go to this page. Going forward, it will be much quicker, but you just created this page, so it just takes a second to register. And you guys will see leave a review. You guys can go ahead and actually add in your testimonials. If you guys have testimonials from third parties, this is great because you can actually come in here and put John Smith, Orlando, Florida, you client since blank, 5 stars, and paste in their review. So if you guys have existing reviews, you can actually use this to add those to your website. And I'm going to show you guys what that will look like as well. And then that will be it, I promise. I know we went a little bit over, I apologize. And then I just want to show you guys the mobile app page as well, just so you can see how it appears. And then we have our download my app. And when they click on this, it will bring them to your app URL. Again, we're not licensed real estate agents, so when we click on it, it brings us to the generic website. But this will actually bring them to your branded mobile app. So now I'm just going to jump back into site settings, and I'm going to click on agent site pages one more time. And I'm going to click on my create a new site. And this is just going to be how you guys can add testimonials to your website. So once you guys have gone ahead and you've added them on the page that we just created, John Smith, you put in your review, all of your information, it will actually feed over to Command. And I'm going to show you guys how to now grab them and put them on your website. So we're going to click on create a new site. And then on my agent site, and create page. And then I'm going to label this one reviews. That way I know the difference between the capture and my actual reviews. And now on the right-hand side, you guys have your widgets. I had previously mentioned this, so the carousel does limit the amount that you guys actually can add. Previously, I want to say it was either 3 or 4. I'm not 100% positive, but it was 3 or 4 testimonials that you can add. The list allows up to 10, so I'm going to use the list portion. And all I'm going to do is click, drag and drop, just like before. And this is essentially the format it's going to look like. And all we're going to do is click on configure widgets and do the exact same thing as before. We'll click on our testimonials list. It's going to allow us to select a headline. So I'm just going to put client reviews, intro text, see what our clients have to say. And again, you guys can put anything there. We've also seen agents just put a space here if you don't have anything you want there, but there does have to be something. Underneath that, you guys will see you should have options essentially for your first name, last initial, city, client since, neighborhood. This actually allows you to remove certain pieces of information. So for example, if you don't want it to show client since or the neighborhood that they purchased in or the neighborhood that they notated on the testimonial, you can remove that. And then you'll notice underneath that, it will actually pull all of the testimonials that have come through on your website. So if you guys later on today decide to add in some custom testimonials that have come through to you, whether you're pulling them from an old website or maybe someone sent it to you via email, whatever it may be, you guys can actually add them in and then give it a second, come in here, and they'll actually populate here for you. So I'm going to add all of them. And just click save and apply just so you guys can see what it looks like. And it essentially puts them all on our website, all onto this page. Once I've done that, I'll click on my save page changes and yes. And then I'll do the exact same thing, site and app settings and my site pages to make this live. And then I'm just going to click on my add page and then reviews. You'll see that bubble pops up and then I'll just click on continue. And I'm going to title this one Client Reviews. And then put see what our clients have to say. And then we'll save that. And I'll drag and drop that up. So now I have my leaver review, my client reviews, and I am good to go. And now that's a live page on our website. Someone had asked in the chat, and this is usually how I end class as well. But as far as if you guys are looking to edit a page that has come through, so say you guys are working with a client and they just shoot you an email and say, hey, I just left you a testimonial on your website. Great working with you, whatever it may be. You guys can actually edit the testimonials that are populating on that page. In order to do this, it's actually through the Designs tab. So what we're going to do really quick, just to show you guys where that is if you guys click on Designs and then Agent Site, it's going to pull up all of the pages that you've previously created, edited, tweaked that were on your website. You'll notice we have a very large amount. Chances are you may only have 3 or 4 pages here. That's completely normal. But in regards to actually editing the page, again, this is a great reason as to why titling them is so important. You'll see they're all nice and organized. So I have my reviews, my capture, mobile app, company profile, whatever I'm looking to customize, I can just click on and go back into it and edit that. So for example, reviews, John Smith says that he just sent us a review. I can come in here and click on this and it pulls up exactly where we just were. This time, rather than having to add the widget first, I'm just going to click on configure. And then I'll click on testimonial list. And here's the exact editability we just had access to. And I can come in here and I can tweak and save and apply, and it will update my actual testimonials or my reviews for myself. So then once I've done that, I can go ahead and click on Save Changes. And then click on Yes. And then I can jump back into, I'm back on my agent site, and it essentially shows you now I have 2. If you guys are revising a page that you already have active on your website, recommendation would be to just change the title and add maybe a 2 or a new to it. However, you can tell which one is live and which one isn't based on the eyeballs. So what I can do now is just jump right back into my site and app settings and just swap these pages out. So when I click on that, I'll go into my site pages again. And wait for this to load. And then I have my client reviews. All I have to do is click on these 3 dots, select page, and then I can select my newer one and then continue. All my information would stay the same. I don't need to retitle it, SEO, Slug. It's all going to stay the same. I just want my new page to be the primary. And then I'll click Save Page Changes. And then when I go back to agent site pages, it will show me now my new one is live and my old one isn't. And that's how you guys can essentially swap out pages and make edits to custom pages that you may have added previously. That pretty much sums up everything on the Command IDX websites. If you guys are following along with class, I know a couple of questions came through and I'll address those. If you guys are following along with the recorded video, I am going to put some additional tips and a notes page underneath this YouTube video. It's going to be a shareable Word doc that will have some additional tip videos, how to edit just testimonials, how to add some additional things onto your website. So I'll put all of that in here for you. I'll also hyperlink our website 201 class, which essentially dives into a bunch of customizations that you guys can do on your websites. So today was more so an overview on how to set it up. We also do a 201, which is next Wednesday, that will go over all of the customizations that you guys have access to. So I am going to get that added for you guys. And then as always, if you guys have questions or if something doesn't look the same as what we have set up, definitely let us know and we will go ahead and take care of that for you. And thanks for coming to class.